Previously on Marvelous Monday. I don't need you, I want you. So this is something very common that you hear women say, even some older women. I've even heard boomers say, all I need you for is your body. And this thought process comes from, I think, a belief that men really only have one purpose. Welcome to The Secret Garden, located at the crossroads of Sassy Lane and Divine Boulevard, where we are powerfully feminine and divinely chaotic. I am your host, Lady Lovely. It's Marvelous Monday, and we're taking a moment to understand and appreciate men. As you take your seat under the willow trees, hit the like button and show the world that you support The Secret Garden. Welcome back, Bloomies. Welcome back. And it's a wonderful, happy, marvelous Monday to you. So glad you decided to come back. And if you're new, I'm so glad you're here. We have an important topic today. The value of the masculine voice. So as you know, here in the Secret Garden, we value masculinity, okay? We value men. We embrace the truth of the divine order set up by the Creator. Men first, woman, and then children. We embrace that. We embrace the man as the head of the household, head of the family, leadership. We embrace that. We are old-fashioned in the Secret Garden. We are traditional women in the Secret Garden. We're not competing with men. We're not trying to be better than them. We're just working and blooming and striving every day to unveil the beauty that is within us as virtuous women and women of class, women of standard. Here in the Secret Garden, we are not ashamed of our womanly essence, and we stand for masculine men, okay? All shapes, sizes, everyone, but in particular, our brothers. We stand, especially on Marvelous Monday. So I saw an interesting clip, and I was going to show it to you all today, but it doesn't bear as much importance. It just kind of gave me an idea about the value of the manly voice. That value. We all know how things are these days. So the male voice is not as much celebrated. It's not celebrated, as a matter of fact. It's not celebrated. It's quite literally cast aside and thrown in the back closet or upstairs in the attic behind the old chifforobe. You know what I mean. But of course, women of the Secret Garden, we want that voice to come forward, okay? No more in the shadows, no more cast aside, no more pushing the female voice over the man voice. We want the voice to come forward. And we know that there is great value in his voice. When he speaks, there is great import. There's nothing like it on this earth. And we know, and we are willing to even confess and admit that it is a sound we long for. When we don't have it in our day-to-day lives, we understand that it's something to appreciate. It is something to even seek for, okay? It is a blessing. It's a blessing. The masculine voice is the voice of several important values that we are going to discuss today on Marvelous Monday here in the Secret Garden. As always, it's Monday and we're taking a moment to appreciate men and to say it, like they say it with our chests, okay? We love men and we value them. So today we are valuing the masculine voice, and we're going to explore it and go deep into this subject a little bit and give you something to think about, something to chat and chew on with your girls, maybe even with your hubby. See what he has to say. It's very important that we just take a moment once a week to engage and appreciate men and, dive deep into the value that is men. Okay, so in particular, we are talking about the masculine voice. I noticed an interesting development among women of a certain age. They're not necessarily the subscribers of this channel, and that's okay. But it's important for younger women to know that this is going to happen. Because I see like a lot of us, and I talk about it all the time, we have been culturally programmed, I'm going to just put it that bluntly, to be strong and independent and to feel and say quite proudly, I don't need no man, okay? And we feel that because we can provide for our basic essential needs and our wants and desires, that it is true that we literally don't need a man. We forget that there is more to a man than finances. And you're going to need those other things. Even if you don't need the money, you're going to need the other wonderful blessings that the Creator gave to man. Okay? He didn't give it to us. We don't have those particular gifts. He gave it to men. And we're going to need it. We need it, and our children need it. So we know that communication is vital to human relationships. And I've talked about this in some previous posts. I've talked about how often if you're listening to dating programs or you go online, on different dating apps and you see women, looking for men, and they very often will list on their list, their Dead Sea Scroll of the perfect man, characteristics of the perfect man, they will have on there good communicator. And one thing that I keep hammering home is that men do not communicate like women. So if you are evaluating his communication, the man in your life, based on how you communicate, you're going to fail him every time, because he is never going to communicate like you, particularly if he is masculine. He's not going to communicate because he's a man. Okay? Men communicate from a place of reason and logic. They use as few words as possible. They get directly to the point, and they don't really get into the weeds as far as emotions. They're very logical and reasonable. And when I say reasonable, I mean reason. They're coming from a place of reason and logic, analytics, and things like that. Whereas us wonderful feminine creatures, we speak from, most of our communication is filtered through the lens of our emotions. Now, you might hate it. You might hate what I just said. You might say, no, Lady Lovely, get out of here with that. That's not true. I can be very analytical and logical and all like that. And I'm not saying women can't be. Absolutely. Especially if you have a masculine man in your life, you have that logic and reason, that energy in your life. You can probably speak, from time to time through logic and reason, because you have that in your life balancing out your femininity, your chaos, and your emotions. However, generally speaking, and we all know generalizations exist for a reason. So, generally speaking, we speak through the lens of our emotions, our feelings, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? That this makes us women, and their logic and reason makes them men. But when we then come together, as I said some weeks ago, sometimes our communication is like we sail past each other at two ships in the night. We sail past each other because we're both speaking from our particular zones of the world. And we miss each other, okay? So he's speaking from reason, you're speaking through some of your emotions, and we miscommunicate, okay? We miss the mark. And we have to sometimes go over things more than once, go slow, and see where we have the similarities. And very often we can see, even an outsider, that we are saying the same thing, okay? So I really want that to be, we gotta understand that men are different and they do not communicate like we do, okay? They simply do not. And communication is so vital to human relationships that this is not something that we can just, away with. It's essential for us to understand how men communicate and to embrace the idea that their style of communication is just as important as ours. And when it comes to our sons, it's vital, okay? When it comes to boys and young men, they need to be exposed to the language of men. The feminists today, they call them man language. They call it man speak. Have you heard this? They call it man speak. Let me see what is the definition for man speak. I'm sure you've heard this. Okay. So the feminists say that man speak is communication by men, and it's viewed as crude, terse, evasive, or emotionally inept. Okay, now let's dig into that. Okay. Here's another definition. Man speaking is when, among a conversation of women, a man speaks without first being spoken to. This term is used by feminists to silence a man who's speaking when their input in the conversation is not needed. Okay. To avoid man speaking, you must wait to be spoken to first before saying a word. All right. So that is that's on Urban Dictionary. So it's kind of it's a little biased, but it's still saying the exact same thing, okay? It's a feminist term, so, all right? When you hear a woman using it, understand who that is. She's not one of us, okay? She doesn't go to the secret garden. She does not embrace masculine energy or the Creator's intention for our lives. So that is the definition of man speak. Now, as you know, over here in the secret garden, we don't accept this, okay? And we are saying today, quite forthrightly, we want to hear the men speak. The masculine voice is essential to all life, all living, to us as women, to our daughters, and particularly to our sons. Now, I want to dig into the definition, the first definition that I read to you, okay? Sorry, I had some technical problems. Just a moment. Okay, it said, communication by men viewed as crude. Okay, so I think we understand. Crude is, or means, okay. Crude means in a natural or raw state. Okay, unprocessed, unrefined, a rudimentary or makeshift manner. Okay, that's crude. All right, so that's first thing. Man speak is raw. It's natural. It's unrefined. It's unprocessed. Okay? Y'all want to hear another word for crude? Now, this is a word that, our current society loves. And this is what I thought of when I heard crude. Okay, so that was unrefined, unprocessed, okay, unprocessed, natural, all right. Another word for crude that is more acceptable these days is organic. Organic. All right. Okay, let's put that down. Man speak is organic. Okay, it's all natural. All right, no chemicals. no what you call it? No high fructose corn syrup. Okay, no added minerals and vitamins that they took out and then put back in an artificial manner. None of that. Now let's go back, okay? So man speak is crude. Man speak is terse. All right, terse. Let's look at terse. All right. Okay. Y'all gonna see that your girl was right in the beginning when I told you how men speak. Terse. Sparing in the use of words. Hello, somebody. Come on now. Sparing in the use of words. Concise. Brief. Succinct, to the point. Come on now. Come on, somebody. Okay. Terse. All right. To the point. To the point. All right. I think the other part was sparing use of words. Okay. Sparing. Not using a whole lot of words, just a few. And we're getting to the point. And concise. Okay. Now, I want to go back to crude for a moment because there was something in the crude that was important. So let's look at crude again. Okay, crude. So we said in a natural state, unprocessed, unrefined. There was something about okay. All right, it's okay. I thought I saw something else. All right, no problem. Let's go back. So man speak is crude, it's terse, it's evasive. Now, I think that is evasive. Well, we know that this is a feminist term. Okay, so we know that this is not, the term was not released or given birth to out of love. Okay, not at all for men. So evasive is tending to avoid commitment or self-revelation. All right. Avoidance or escape. Now, that's a whole, what do they say now? They say that's cap. Okay. That's a whole one. That's a whole one. That's a whole one. Men are not evasive. No. But I'm going to write it down because we have to learn our lesson today. Okay. The lesson is that feminists will promote hate. Okay. They will promote hate onto men, project it right onto them. So we're saying avoiding commitment or self-revelation. All right. Okay. All right. And let's go back to crude. So crude is, as we know now, man speak is the communication by men viewed as crude, terse, evasive, or emotionally inept. Now, what are they saying when they say that? Bloomies, what are they saying? When they say emotionally inept, what are they trying to say? Because we do accept the idea that men are humans, right? They're not a robot or some kind of man-made creature, right? There's something that's living. It's living. Men are a living creature, right? Okay, and they're human at that, right? So they even have a wider emotional bandwidth than the animals. Don't they? Okay, so now we know that animals show emotion. We know that. So how can we say that when men speak, it's emotionally inept? Because they're humans. So there has to be emotion there. They are a human being. So you know what I'd like to say? They're trying to convey here how men do not speak through the lens of their feelings. They speak with logic and reason. Okay? Now, are feelings important? Absolutely. Absolutely. Emotions are important. However, every time you speak, or not you, because you, Bloomy, are a woman. Okay? So, but every time, there's a reason for why the Creator made men this way. Okay? There is a need at times for decisions to be made, for moves to be made in life, for growth, for expansion, decision, even creation. A certain amount of creative spirit needs to be, I don't want to say moved again, but you know what I'm saying. It needs to happen without a lot of emotion. Okay? There are times when we need to put our emotions aside and be in a place of business. As they say, be about business. Okay? It is a dangerous thing to always move and live through emotions. And that's why the Creator gave us men. Because for women, it's very hard for us to do that. I mean, we have our moments, where we're great. Logical, reasonable. We could, especially if we have a masculine man in our life, because he's given us that balance. He's teaching us that way. We have his leadership and protection, so we're getting that energy from him. Okay, maybe he's our father, our brother. He may not be our man, but he's a man in our life, and so he's giving us that energy, so we can show up, but not all month long. And I'm right. You know that there are times in the month. Okay. And it doesn't even, and I'm going to say this, it's not even about fertility. This is the nature of a woman's spirit. Because even after she ceases to be fertile, a woman still is moving. Booming. If you've been a subscriber or a listener for some time now, you've heard me talking about Femme Magic, the wonderful all-natural toxin-free product. Coochie is my favorite of the Femme Magic products. Now you say, well, what is Femme Magic? Well, Coochie specifically is a wonderful feminine wash. Oftentimes we sit for very long periods of time. We're sitting in church, we're sitting at work, we're at the office, we're at different events, and we're sitting for a very extended period of time. And our garden is wrapped up tight. It's wrapped up in leggings. It's wrapped up in a girdle. It's wrapped up in all kinds of different wonderful things that we like to wear. But our garden, which is a moist, dark area, is wrapped up tight, and it cannot quite breathe. And from all that wrapped up tightness and sitting around, and of course we have to go to the loo and the ladies' room from time to time, so we have excess this and that. Sometimes we have to do a number 2, and things down there can become not so fresh. So to restore your freshness, use Coochie. Again, this is by Femme Magic. It's all natural, plant-based, no toxins whatsoever. This is a wonderful wash. I'm not even one for using a lot of outside chemicals for my garden, because the garden is made to be self-cleaning and self-restorative. However, there are times, even if, during your monthly, you have your intimate times where you need a good restoration, a lovely wash that's going to balance out everything in the garden and make it fresh and dewy one more time. And when you have those moments, use Coochie. at femmagic.com. That's where you can purchase it. And to save a couple of coins, use my code SassyDivine to save 5%. All right, Bloomie, check it out. Coochie by Femme Magic. And we're back. So I want to go back to the definition of man speak. And over there on urbandictionary.com, it said that man speak happens when a group of women are talking and a man comes, or he's standing there and he speaks without being first spoken to. Do you remember when I said that? I think that is just, it's just such a feminist term. Yes, so this is a term used by feminists to silence a man who's speaking when their input in the conversation is not needed. To avoid man speaking, you must wait to be spoken to first. Okay, now, in order for a man to avoid man speaking or being guilty of man speaking, he must wait. Come on now. I want y'all to take this in. Now breathe on this. He must wait. He must wait to be spoken to first before saying a word. Tell me this. Who do you hear? Which person in society do you remember being taught that you are not to speak until spoken to? Tell me who was that? Huh? It wasn't men. Come on now, cast your mind back. You might, it maybe if you're younger, if you're a millennial, you might not remember. But when I was a little girl, okay, the people who were told that you cannot speak until you have been spoken to, you must be spoken to first, you must wait, was children. Yeah, that was kids. They would say, children are better seen than heard. Come on now. That was children. So now we have taken an idea that was used to teach children the sanctity and order of society as it was then. We have adopted it for men. For what? Now y'all know this is a whole entire blasphemy. This is blasphemy. Okay. Okay. All right. So let me get back to the point. Okay. I got lost in this man speaking business. The language of men is essential. Okay. And the voice, the sound, the audible sound that is uttered when a man speaks is essential to us as women and to our children. Okay. And I'm going to tell you when you can see it, when it becomes very obvious that women need it. Okay. It's not when they're young. When women are young, men are, abundant. They're around, they're everywhere, they're talking. No big deal. But as a woman ages and she's not attached, that sound the volume on that sound starts to go down. Okay? Because she's moving into her golden years. Okay? She's not getting the same level of attention. And this is just a normal fact of life. Don't let anybody fool you and tell you that what I'm saying is not true. That anything about the wall is not true. The wall is real. Okay? The goal is to reach the wall tethered to a man, okay, a masculine man. So that if you have a masculine man by your side, when the wall appears, it is inevitable, it will, okay? No big deal. You and him climb over the wall and into the golden horizon of tomorrow. But the longer you're going unattached, you don't have a lot of masculinity in your life, it's dwindling, okay? You're getting older. But your need for that voice, that sound, that energy is still just as raw as it was when you were 22. Or I should say 21. You know that store, Forever 21? When you were 21, just as much as you needed it then, and it was abundant, and there was no big deal because it was so much of it, and you thought it would always be that way, it will not always be that way. Especially if you're in a place where you're not valuing it, where you're not nurturing that sound. And by that, I mean nurturing your relationships with men, allowing them, whatever they may be to you, whether they're brother, cousin, not sister, brother, cousin, nephew, son, grandfather, father, neighbor across the street, allowing him to give you his masculine energy, okay? Allowing him to give you some direction, some instruction, some order, some advice, not going around with a, what he talking? We don't know what he talking about. I ain't ask him all that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Come on now. Y'all know, I'm not making things up. If you surrender to your natural need for that energy, for that sound, you will have it. Okay? It will be in your life because the men will feel your surrender to that. They will feel, I'm going to use another word that's sticky. I'm going to put it out. So get ready now. Take a deep breath. If you got something to drink, take a swallow. Make sure it gets all the way down. Make sure it gets all the way down. If you're chewing on something, hurry up now. Finish chewing because I'm getting ready to say this and it might make you choke a little bit. He will feel your, come on, y'all ready? Submission. Okay, now just take that in. Just take it in. I know. It's hard. It's hard, even for feminine creatures in this society, because we're so used to anti-men ideas, teachings, and ways of thinking that certain words are very triggering. And so I hope that you're still with me. You might have bounced. You might have left. We probably lost some people, Bloomies. That's a hard one. But he will feel that. He will feel that you are a woman who accepts that leadership, even if it's just neighbor across the street giving you some advice about your car, about your windows. He will feel it, and he will give it to you. Okay? Men these days are starved for that energy. That submission energy, they are starved of it. It's like, especially here in the USA, it's like almost non-existent. And if you say the word or say that's what you want as a man, I want a woman who's going to submit. Child, please, they will, okay? All of the, shout out to the Crimson Cure. All of the hyenas will rise up, okay, with stones and stone you until you fall dead to the earth. They will even stone another woman who says that she does that for her man. So it's a hard idea. Going back to the masculine voice. So we need his voice. We need that sound. Oh, yes, I know what I was trying to get back to. So at a certain point in your life, you're older. Okay? Maybe you don't have your man. He might have passed on. Maybe y'all separated, whatever. You don't have a lot of men in your life. Okay? But you're still needing that energy, that masculine energy, that direction, leadership, support. You still need it because you are still a woman. It doesn't matter how old you are and what your ovaries are doing. You are still a woman, okay? And you are going to look for that energy wherever you go. You're going to look for it. Where the safe places in your life, you're going to look for it. Wherever they are. They could be at work. Where y'all think the whole work husband idea came up with? It might be at work. You need that attention. You need that energy. It's a fact of life. The Creator made us this. He made us this way. There's nothing you can do about it. You can lie and be in denial and delusion about it and pretend that it doesn't exist and be one of those bitter hyenas. But that's not what we're promoting here in the Secret Garden. That's not the life we want to live. Let's go ahead and say, yeah, I'm one of those. I'm good with it. This is who I am. I'm a woman. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not trying to be a man. I'm not a woman trying to be a masculine version of a woman. No, I am a whole entire woman with feminine energy and chaos and divine nurturing and all the beautiful things that the woman made, that the Creator made the woman to be. She's a flower. All right? And as a flower, we can embrace and accept masculine authority. You know, that's one of the first things that you get when you hear a man speak to you. Even if he's not giving you instruction, that sound is the sound of authority. Come with me now. I hope y'all didn't run away. It's authority, it's power, it's protection. It's the sound of protection. It's the sound of teaching. It's the sound of direction. It's the sound of leadership. It's the sound of provision. We need that. We need that. And we're okay with it here in the Secret Garden. We embrace that. Okay? And we're going to work each day to nurture the relationships that we have with the men in our lives, whomever they may be. Your husband, your man, your son, your adult son, your young man, son. And I'm not talking about turning him into a son husband. I'm just talking about starting to respect his masculinity that's blooming inside of him. Okay? There's a time in a boy's life where we as women need to start to submit to his masculinity that's inside of him. Now, I know that one's hard. I know. I just threw that. As somebody I know says, I threw that in the bag for free. But yes, we're nurturing our relationships with men. We're radiating feminine energy. We are okay with the idea of submission and surrender to masculinity. Okay? Because we know that is the divine order. We understand that. Next time on Marvelous Monday. Today is our first Marvelous Monday interview. What does it mean to be the man to you?
To be the man is to, like I said, be strong, noble, be able to provide for your family, to take care, to be some form of leadership.
I love knowing how my audience feels about things. Your feedback is so important to me. Let me know where you stand in the comments. Bloomies, because it's Marvelous Monday, be sure to smile and say hello to a brother today. I promise you'll be blessed if you do. Be sure to like, share, or subscribe if you enjoyed this video. There are so many of you who are joining us every week, but you're not subscribed. Bloomie, hit the button and ring the bell for notifications. Come on, join us in the garden. There will be garden events coming up soon for subscribers only, and you're going to be locked out. I don't want that. Come on. Today's episode was brought to you by the letter F. F is for Fem Magic, the all-natural, toxin-free, and plant-based feminine product. Fem Magic will keep your beautiful garden fresh and dewy. Get yours today at femmagic.com. Use code SassyDivine for a 5% discount. And as always, until we meet again in the Secret Garden at the crossroads of Sassy Lane and Divine Boulevard, go! Get back your ooh